Hello, my name is Dominic Mason and I'm a beef and sheep advisor within CAFRE. Within today's short presentation, I am going to discuss pre-breeding management and fertility within the suckler herd. We will touch on some key performance indicators and targets which you should be setting within your herd, discussing what you can do to help achieve some of these targets, and generally what steps need to be addressed for the upcoming breeding season. So to start off with, we'll be looking at what's classed as key performance indicators or KPIs. These are areas which can be used to identify and assess strengths and weaknesses within the herd, some of which may have a bigger influence than others. So one of the first KPIs I'd be looking at would be a calving interval of 365 days. The idea being to make more efficient use of the cow within the herd. Recent figures from AFB have commented that the current mean calving interval of the Northern Ireland suckler herd is sitting somewhere in the region of 409 days, 44 days above that target calving interval of 365. My question to you is, what do you class as the cost of a day open within your herd? Next up, a 12-week calving period for the main herd, of which you'd be aiming for 80% of the cows to calve within the first 6 weeks, or 60 or 16 cows within a 20 cow herd. You'll be aiming for 95+% of total cows put to the bull to calve down and wean a calf. And again, if there's any more than 5% of a barn rate within the herd, I would consult your vet. I would aim for a target replacement rate of 15%, with the idea being you would have a younger herd and potentially a higher cull value within the herd as well. And the idea of calving down at 24 months or 2 years of age, again, purely to take full advantage of the breeding within the animals. The previously mentioned KPIs, the only way you'll get there or meet them is if you measure, record, and act upon some of the information you can get from your farm. And some of these items that you have control over would be, for talk's sake, nutrition and body condition score within the herd. Within the herd, you'll be aiming for a body condition score for spring calving cows at calving to be around 2.5. Within this, their appetite will be decreased leading up to calving, but once calved, the appetite will increase, primarily because the cow is now producing milk through her calf, but also she wants to maintain her own body. Has to be remembered, the last thing this girl wants to do is get back and calve, so you need to keep on top of body condition. Increasing body condition score gradually from calving to service from 2.5 to 3 is the job that you have in hand now. 1 or even half a point of body condition score could be in the region of 40 to 80 kilograms of live weight, which equates then around, say, 10 to 12% of overall body weight. If willing or wanting to assess the body condition score, do it manually over the rib area, loin area, and pin bones of the animal. Bull MOT and sort of ways looking after the cows that had any issues at calving is the next issue that's coming up. Bull fertility. If this man lets you down throughout the season, you're snookered. Body condition score is of utmost importance. You need to make sure this guy's sound in his feet, so any issues that he has needs to be acted upon or worked upon 6 to 8 weeks pre-breeding season at least. If there has been an increase in the calving interval, it's maybe worthwhile getting in touch with your vet, and once the vet arrives out, they'll be able to carry out all the necessary checks that they would normally be doing. So looking at scrotal circumference, checking the bull's feet, and potentially looking at motility within the semen. Cow fertility, again, exact same as the bull, body condition score, utmost importance. But big thing is getting the cows on their feet and looking after those issues that you've had through calving. So anybody that's had a cesarean, anybody that's had a difficult calving, any potential cases of metritis, get them all treated early on so that all them issues are out of the way well in advance of breeding season commencing. Replacement heifer management, one of the next items in the agenda. The idea is that you aim to select your heifers from the earlier calving cows and heifers within the herd, ideally within the first or second cycles, as these potentially would be more fertile animals. You need to be selecting from mothers that are sound for good milk production, udder conformation, and on temperament, 3 traits that you would want in any suckler cow. In reference to calving down at 24 months of age, Specific targets must be met, as mentioned, for them to carry out this job. So for talk's sake, if you've got a mature cow weight or an average mature cow weight of 650 kilos within the herd, aim for at bulling stage 65% of that weight to be met. So at 15 months, have your bull and heifer at 420 kilograms. Then again at calving, you want her to be hitting about 85% of her mature weight, so about 550 kilos, with the remaining growth to be gained by the second breeding season. As mentioned previously, it's good practice if the heifer's calving down prior to the cows, as mainly it allows them to return to estrus and fall back within the calving pattern within the main herd, but also it allows you to spend more dedicated time with them in general throughout the calving period. Vaccination and herd health, next item up. So it has to be said, you need to assess your herd's disease status with your veterinary practitioner. Simple as this, it's important to put in place measures to prevent disease both entering and spreading within your herd. Whether disease isn't already within the herd, vaccination policies should at least be discussed, as they can be a vital tool for controlling these infectious diseases. Again, if you're deciding to vaccinate, timing's key. So if you're vaccinating for diseases such as lepto, BVD, salmonella, IBR, all the diseases that can have an effect on fertility and abortion within the animals, get the treatments done early. But again, talk to your vet. Trace elements and minerals would be a big item as well, just as much so as they are through calving and leading up to calving. Keep that program going right the way through the breeding season if you can, because the likes of copper, iodine, selenium are all heavily involved in fertility to sort of ways help increase conception rates, create stronger heats, and sort of ways extend the heat periods as well. But finally, I suppose on herd health, remember these health plans and vaccination protocols should be reviewed annually with your vet, so don't just make it a one-off. Suppose a few take-home points here to finish off. First one would be, again, clearly define goals and targets in place. Make sure you put an effort in place to benchmark yourself, both against the industry average, but also against what you've done in previous years. Keep those animals on a rising plane of nutrition. This is a must for the herd bulls and the cows stroke heifers. Research has shown again that cows with a lower body condition score of 1.75 could have a delayed return to heat by as much as 14 days, that's 2 weeks, compared to that of a cow in the condition score of 2.5 to 3. Likewise, cows with a body condition score of 2.5 to 3, research has shown also have a better chance of achieving a calving interval of 365 days. The herd bull and cow MOT, give yourself plenty of time to get them all back in shape, especially the herd bull as well. You're relying on this one man to do a job across the herd, so get the feet done, get the vaccination protocols out of the way, get him in shape, and get yourself ready. Again, for the cows, pay attention to feet. Give any of those cows or heifers that have had difficult calving some extra attention, and look out for signs of metritis, etc., which can and will have a serious effect on your fertility. Replacement wise, have them selected well in advance of the breeding season. Make sure that they're on target to hit the weights that you've set. This will definitely have a huge impact on their ability not only to reach puberty and conceive, but also to calve down and subsequently remain within the herd. And finally, I suppose the herd health plan. Renew it annually, keep in touch with your vet. It's something that everyone should be doing, purely to keep disease at bay, reduce antimicrobial resistance, increase live weight gains, and at the end of the day, overall farm output and profitability. So folks, just like to say many thanks for tuning in. I look forward to talking with you all again soon, and thank you and stay safe.